As an audio engineer with over 16 years of experience mixing for concerts, bands, and events,
my goal and responsibility is to make the most insane audio review on all of YouTube.
So this is a definitive and experiential comparison of the Sony WF-1000XM5s, the Sony WF-1000XM4s, the Apple AirPods Pro 2, and the Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds 2. And it's measured and captured with over $5,000 of high-end professional equipment that covers the entire human hearing range to help you make the best choice for your preferences.
Now, since this is an experiential and immersive review, you'll want to make sure that you're wearing earbuds or headphones in both ears in order to get the full experience. So I'll let you do that before we continue.
Now, these high-quality recordings will not magically transform your listening device to them,
but they do provide the comparative differences between all of them for ANC, transparency mode,
gaming performance,
call quality, and microphone quality in various situations.
And we'll listen to a variety of different musical styles. I'll even let you hear my custom EQ settings for the Sony XM5s, which you can gain access to by becoming a channel member. So let's hear somewhat what it sounds like if you were wearing these earbuds and listening to music. And each test in this video will start and end with the original reference track and then cycle through each earbud. You'll see which earbud you're listening to by looking in the label up top. By the way, just so you understand the flow of this video, we'll listen to a song sample between each section of this video. There are also chapters available so you can easily find your way around. I promise that you'll come away feeling confident about which option is the best fit for your preferences. Of course, if you want to purchase any of these, there'll be links down below in the description, and it does help support the channel if you use those links.
Now, if you're wondering why I'm emphasizing the XM5 so much, it's not because I'm biased. It's because it's the new thing at the time of filming, so chill out.
For the song, listen to the reverb for the vocals, the snare, the sharpness of the hi-hat, and the stereo spread from the wah-wah sounds, and let me know in the comments what you notice. Sony has recently moved towards more sustainable materials and shrinking down the size of their products, which we first started to see with the Sony LinkBuds S. This is a nice change from the massive WF-1000XM3s of the past. They even managed to be even smaller than the XM4's case and slightly bigger than the LinkBuds S case. Amongst the four, the Apple AirPods Pro 2 are the smallest, with the Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds 2 being the largest.
I do really like the texture and feel of the XM5s, but just a heads up that the case is prone to scuffs and marks, but so far I've been able to wipe them off. You may not see this as much on the black model, but the black model will show more fingerprints. So I prefer the silver or white color. The XM5 also adds a pairing button to the case, which the XM4 lacked, which is definitely appreciated.
The AirPods Pro 2 case is a bit more feature rich because it has a speaker inside of it that can provide audible feedback and sounds, so if you lose them and are looking for them, that can come in handy. It also has an AirTag built into it, so you can use the Find My network to locate it. One thing that I don't particularly like is how the earbuds themselves are partially glossy. Strangely, the XM5s are insanely slippery and hard to get out of the case.
Actually dropped it. Oh, there you go. It's a slippery little goose. But I got it.
While the AirPods Pro 2 are glossy, the earbuds are super easy to take out because you push from the back to take it out.
It's so easy that I can just open it up without even looking, grab it, and put it in my ear.
On the XM5s, this motion doesn't seem to be the intended motion, nor does it work well because there's nothing to grip on.
Now, as you can see, the XM5s are a little bit bigger than the bulb part of the AirPods Pro 2, but notably smaller than the XM4s and the Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds 2. Now, this is not only obvious visually, but also in your ear and how they feel. Now, they feel pretty comfortable for me, so that's my personal experience, but my ears are not the same as yours.
The XM4s feel massive in your ears in comparison to the rest. The Bose feel super secure because of the extra fins. The AirPods Pro 2 surprisingly feel like they're not in your ears without falling out, and the XM5s feel secure while being very comfortable. But it's important to know that it's mostly relying on the ear tip to hold it in. For working out, all of them are IPX4 rated. I think the Bose are the most secure option out of all of them, but I haven't found any issues with any of the others in terms of feeling like they'd fall out or them actually falling out. Now, having the proper size ear tip is important not only for the sound, but to keep it secured in your ear. The XM5s joined the trend of having an extra small ear tip and are made out of a really nice foam-like material rather than silicone. So it not only provides a more snug fit, but also a stronger passive noise cancellation. Unfortunately, the XM5 stick out of my ear enough to make it uncomfortable to lay down on a pillow. Strangely though, the AirPods Pro 2 are quite comfortable when laying down, even with that stem, at least for my ears. For the song, pay attention to the clarity of the attack of the acoustic guitar strings, but how forward the mid-range is in the body of the guitar and the vocals.
When the nights get cold, sometimes when I look over, I see you by a fire with your hands out in the open, and I wonder if you're singing autumn song, or if I'm singing all alone. I must be singing on my own. I'm still falling out.
Oh look, a random XM5. How weird. As for battery life, here's a helpful chart to look at that will show you that they're pretty much all the same, with the AirPods Pro having the largest overall battery life and the Sony's having the longest per charge battery life.
As a whole, all of them are at least long enough for a long flight with ANC on or to get through most of a workday, and they have been fairly accurate in my actual use. I honestly have no complaints about any of their battery lives. All these charge quickly, but the XM5s can get you an hour of playback time with a 3-minute charge compared to the XM4's 5 minutes, and all but the AirPods Pro 2 use USB-C. At the time of filming, there have been some rumors that the AirPods Pro 2 will have a refresh to swap out the Lightning port for USB-C, so if that's true and you're watching that and it has been released, how do you like it? Let me know in the comments. Hello, you from the future. In addition to charging over a cable, all of them have wireless charging except for the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds 2. This is a bit of a frustrating omission given that it is a flagship earbud from Bose and they have the largest case. With the AirPods Pro 2, it benefits from MagSafe and will likely benefit from the Qi 2 charging standard coming in 2024, and that includes magnets that are essentially MagSafe. That means it will be compatible with a lot of wireless charging accessories that will be released in 2024 and beyond. Hey, by the way, if you found this video valuable and want to help support the making of more of them, the super thanks feature is enabled. It's like giving you a tip, thanks. This track is quite revealing on how the mid-range is handled between each earbud, as well as how it handles some of the higher end things like cymbals and the snare. Pay attention to see if you hear one of them being a bit harsher than the other. For the XM5s, interactions are mostly the same with the addition of a 4-tap feature to either turn your volume up or down, which is greatly appreciated. I think volume control is a make or break for me. There are options for adjusting which earbud handles ambient sound control and which handles playback control in the app. Unfortunately, it doesn't allow you to assign custom actions for each type of tap, so you're stuck with predefined presets. Overall, I'm happy with the interactions on the XM5s, but I prefer the swipe gestures found on the AirPods Pro 2 and the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds 2, which allow for swipe volume controls up and down on each earbud. It just feels more intuitive over taps, and it's nicer for those of us that wear one earbud at a time. As for connectivity, the AirPods Pro 2 are obviously amazing for Apple devices with Quick Pair, and the Sony earbuds connect over Android Fast Pair and support the higher quality LDAC codec on Android, and Bose requires an app to work properly. I will say that the Bose app is the worst part of that earbud because it's so inconsistent, doesn't always work, and it won't let you connect at times. So Bose needs to fix their pairing process and connectivity and use Android Fast Pair. there. The XM5s have 85% of the features available just from connecting over Bluetooth in the interactions, so the app isn't required for a good experience. But the headphone app is essentially the same as before with ANC and transparency controls, EQ, adaptive sound controls based on what you're doing, speak to the chat which will auto switch to transparency mode when it detects your voice, and back to ANC when you stop talking, a new head gesture feature which you can nod to accept a call or shake your head to reject it. Interesting. There's also multi-device pairing which works fantastically well, and there's a bunch more. As a whole, the Sony app is solid, but wish it had more custom EQ bands beyond the 5 given for people like me, as well as more granular controls for interactions. I also would like more side tone control, or the capture voice during a phone call feature that is intended to prevent you from feeling all plugged up into your head, isolated from when you're talking on a call. Right now, it doesn't feel like it's doing nearly enough to alleviate this sensation. Speaking of calls and microphones, let's check that out after this next song. This song is a mid-rangey, warm, and soulful track. Listen to her vocals, the electric guitar lines, and the keyboard. Now let's test out how the microphones perform inside where it's quiet
and outside in noisier areas. Shut up, bird! Anyways,
we'll also check out the call quality experience. And to help financially support videos like this, I'll test out the mics while telling you how you can support me.
Now, I don't have a sponsor for this video because a whole bunch of brands passed on it, which I just have a feeling a lot of them will wish they had.
You can still help support videos like this that take me over 60 hours to make by checking out the service that I personally use called Delete Me.
I had a pretty scary experience a year or so ago where I was live streaming and someone started to share personal information about me in the chat and even started to share details of where I lived. I thought I was about to be swatted, which terrified me. It was one of the most violating feelings I've ever had, and I just proactively called the police to let them know what was happening to try to, prevent anything from happening. They said that they would have to show up regardless if someone was to report something, so I was a bit anxious, but thankfully nothing happened.
And after that, I made sure that it would never happen again. You see, I had this previous job at JP Morgan Chase in the fraud prevention department, and my job was to find information on people.
Let me tell you, there's way too much information out there about you. If you've opened up a phone plan, bought a house, voted, opened a utility plan, or numerous other things, your information is out there. Here's the crazy part. Public information is way too public in the age of the internet. I can easily find out someone's current and previous address, their phone number, family members, age, and more in as little as 5 minutes with only 2 pieces of information about you, like your name and what city you live in. So what's the solution? Well, first, we need some serious reform in regards to public information. And second, you can easily remove all that information with Delete Me.
It provides all the information that you provide. And yes, it is safe. And then it uses that information and looks all over the internet for those who are selling your information and sharing it, and then requests that it's removed every single 3 months.
I tell my family and friends to use it, my fellow content creators, and I'm telling you that you should use it too. I've been using it for the past year, and I can't even find my personal information on the internet, and I'm me. It was my job to find people.
If you sign up with my affiliate link, you'll get 20% off a plan, and I'll get a little commission to help compensate for my lack of sponsors.
And here's a tip. Sign up for the 2-year plan to extend that discount even longer. That's what I did.
So help a brother out. Sign up and protect yourself, your friends, and your family using the link in the description or the QR code on the screen.
Thanks to the real ones who signed up, shared my link, and helped support videos like this. By the way, all of these phone calls were HD phone calls.
Now we're next to a water fountain, which provides a lot of noise that the mics will have to filter out to focus on your voice. How does it sound on the Bose? Now, Sony told me that they added an AI chip and some sensors into the XM5 to tell when you're talking. And this is based on the vibrations that it detects while you're talking, and then that AI chip processes all the crazy stuff.
So in theory, that means it should be able to filter out your external noise and capture the sound of your voice better. So how did it do? And now we're next to a busy road as if you're walking to work. I'm running out of things to say, but I want to let you know that I'm really thankful that you're here. I hope you're having a good day and that you're enjoying the video so far and that it's providing a lot of value to you. If it is, let me know what you think in the comments or what you notice about each of the microphones and how they perform. Now this song has a lot of frequencies going everywhere, so listen to how the high end and the mid-range changes between earbuds.
Generally, using Bluetooth earbuds isn't the best idea for games, especially first-person shooters or Rocket League or, things like that, but they can be perfectly fine for most other games. Sony has stated that they have improved their latency on the XM5s, which is true, but it still has a bit of a delay. The Bose is the worst in terms of latency, and the AirPods Pro 2 on an iPhone performs the best. For this next song, listen to the low end and the high end from the snare, and especially the hi-hats to hear how bright and sharp the high end is.
This is a movie Martin House already wrote. You better stay seated, tune in to the after show. And I be going hard like I'm balling. Like I'm and I be going hard like I'm
Transparency mode is an extremely helpful feature that allows you to be aware of and engage with your surroundings without having to take out your earbuds. And every one of these have varying levels of quality and can be enabled by a touch of a button, an adjustment in the app, or automatically enables when you talk, like on the XM5s. Transparency has been a very exciting area of improvement over the last year with the launch of the AirPods Pro 2 and the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds 2. These two have been the best options out there for transparency due to how natural they sound. The question is, how do they stack up with each other, and how does the XM5 compare? So we have some very fancy microphones here. Each one of these mics is $1,000. So you'll actually be able to hear how it sounds in terms of the transparency performance and the ANC performance. Compared to just saying, hey, it sounds good or sounds bad, we'll be able to have some objective samples of how they're actually performing in different environments, which is really cool. Okay, let's do a transparency test right next to this water fountain.
Where? Where?
Okay, now we're next to this busy road, so let's see how it performs.
Where?
Now what's really interesting about transparency mode on the Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds 2 and the AirPods Pro 2 is that the sound of your environment when you have it in your ear kind of sounds a lot like the same as when you take it out. There's no audible difference in volume there, which is really convenient. It adds to that really natural experience for transparency mode. This song is from my personal friend Hannah Parrott. Listen to how dynamic the track sounds, the various layers of horns, string sections, and melodic percussion instruments. For many years, Sony has been amongst the best out there for ANC or active noise cancellation, going neck and neck with other brands like Bose and Apple. So this test will be really fun to check out. Now for the ANC test, we're next to this water fountain. Let's see how they perform. Now, not all ANC is the same. Sometimes it's just a marketing point and it doesn't really do much, or it does a lot and it's really effective like the options that we have in this video. And some of them have different approaches. Some may focus more on the mid-range reduction, which is where your voice tends to kind of reside, or it will focus more on the high end where you have a lot of ambient noise or things like water running. So it really comes down to your personal preference and the approach that you prefer. All right, now we're out in an open field where there's a bunch of white noise, and so we're gonna try out the transparency mode, and we have my friend Sydney over here that's gonna help out with some of the talking samples.
Ayo! Listen to how each handles wind, how much of the voice you can hear in ANC mode, and how clear and natural the voice sounds in transparency mode.
What's up, Sydney?
What's going on, Brandon?
Aren't we like in Rome or something?
We are almost like Rome, but not as cool.
Sydney, have you ever seen the Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds 2?
No, this is actually my first time seeing these bad boys.
Do you think it's kind of weird with the stubbies?
Oh yeah, it's like it's giving me a thumbs up.
Sydney, what do you think about the design of the XM5s?
I love it. It's cool. It's, you know what I'm more fascinated with than the XM5s? It's just your entire testing setup.
You remember these, Sydney?
Oh yeah, those are cool. You know it's classic? You.
Oh, thanks.
You're a classy guy.
Now the song is covered with a wide range of frequencies, so listen to the high end and the mid range for how it changes between earbuds.
In the city so later, falling through the flames. Don't knock my reckless ways. We'll be unbreakable, unmistakable. Live in overdrive when the world is waking up. And the wolf will taste no blood. We'll be unbreakable, unmistakable. Live in
Now, as you've probably noticed, I haven't really shared a lot of my thoughts on the sound quality. That's to give you more time to hear for yourself the objective samples and make your own conclusions. But I know a lot of you want to hear my personal thoughts, so here they are.
The Sony WF-1000XM5s really surprised me at first listen. They sound good. Typically, Sonys go for a very dark, bass-heavy sound that some have described as feeling like you're under a thick blanket. This is not the case here. The XM5s may be Sony's most balanced sounding wireless earbuds to date, avoiding the much darker and more congested bassy sound that was found on the WF-1000XM4s. It is still a bit more mellow and less airy than the Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds 2 and the AirPods Pro 2, which some may prefer. However, it doesn't sound so mellow that it becomes boring or muffled. I assume you've been able to hear these differences in the song samples. Amongst the lineup, the AirPods Pro 2 are a bit closer to the standard called the Harman curve that provides a target sound that most people tend to prefer according to Harman's research. I tend to prefer a Harman sound with some minor modifications, so the AirPods Pro 2 have been my preference for a while for wireless Bluetooth earbuds, but that changes with the XM5s plus my custom EQ.
Now, the Sony Headphones app does have an interesting feature that gives you the ability to create a custom EQ based upon some predetermined sounds. So you kind of tap around and choose what option you prefer, and it continually narrows it down until you get a custom EQ. Personally, I didn't really like the results of those, but thankfully there is a 5-band EQ option that you can manually arrange to get a more granular choice for you. So I prefer that one a little bit more. Now, speaking of custom EQ, let me share with you my own after this song. This song has a lot of reverb going on. Listen to how forward the vocals sound, the air and the reverb from the vocals, and how clean the low end sounds, and let me know what you notice in the comments.
With my custom EQ, I sought to take the blanket off the sound and adjust the high end to give it more clarity and air, and I was able to obtain more instrument separation, a wider sounding soundstage, more elevated and present vocals, and a tighter, more punchy low end. To be honest, with my custom EQ, this is my favorite sounding wireless earbuds out there with good ANC. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you the examples I want to due to copyright, but can really hear the differences with my custom EQ on songs like Daft Punk's The Game of Love, that has a lot of air and punchiness, Electric Mantis's Rose City for the expanded soundstage, and Silent Planet's Panopticon for a more aggressive sounding electric guitar and growling bass, to name a few. You can gain access to my custom EQ for the XM5s along with other headphones and earbuds by becoming a channel member and hitting that join button.
Your support helps me put together videos like this that take me over 60 hours to make, a whole week full of tuning and experimentation for the EQ, and the ability to purchase the equipment and products to make content like this.
I even have a special EQ for the Wavelet app for those on Android for even more fine-tuned custom EQ that I think sounds even better, and is what I'm personally using while on Android. Now let's hear a sample of how the custom EQ sounds. It may be a bit harder to hear the difference here compared to listening with the rear earbuds in your ears, but pay attention to how mellow the vocals and cymbals sound on the default EQ and how the custom EQ makes it a bit clearer and more punchy.
Is she standing alone, going home, or just hanging around with nothing to do? Summer, loving, give me something. I'm about to lose my mind. 'Cause when I see you, I really think I need you. Every single summertime, and all the seasons in between.
Now the question is, which one should you buy? Well, if you are using an iPhone, it's really hard to argue with the fact that there are a lot of ecosystem benefits that come with the Apple AirPods Pro 2.
If you want wireless charging, don't get the Bose.
As for active noise cancellation, it's pretty close between these two, but I would say that in my observations, it seems like the XM5 is the best one.
If you need the longest per charge option, get either of the Sonys. And if you need the longest overall battery life, go with the AirPods Pro 2.
As for transparency mode, I think it's a toss-up between the the Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds 2 and the AirPods Pro 2. There are slight variances that may be there because of your ear shape, but yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
If you want the best microphone that removes all of your surroundings,
The XM5 may be an option, but I've noticed that it cooks a lot in loud environments. I talked to Sony about this, and they informed me that it was an issue with their pre-production sample that they gave me, and it wouldn't be an issue on retail units. I'll have to verify that in a later video, but for now, that may be a deal breaker for Sony.
and I do have to say that the AirPods Pro 2 sound really good on a Mac.
As for comfort and size, it's really hard to argue with the AirPods Pro 2. They feel like they're hardly in your ear, but I will say that the XM5s, they're pretty dang comfortable. They're a really good upgrade from the XM4s and quite a bit more comfortable than the Bose.
If you want the best sound, get the XM5s with my custom EQ or the AirPods Pro 2.
As a whole, the XM5s is a huge upgrade from the XM4s. So if you have an XM4 earbud and you're looking to upgrade, it's totally a no-brainer. If you haven't purchased one yet, don't even bother with the XM4s. It's worth the extra price because there are so many advancements here that make it quite amazing, from the size, the way it feels, the active noise cancellation, the transparency mode, so much. It's a great upgrade from the XM4s.
But if you're not using the iPhone, the XM5s may be the best option.
As for pricing, surprisingly, the AirPods Pro 2 are cheaper than the Bose and the XM5s, but you can find the XM4s for a cheaper price, but I would not really choose this over any of the other options.
This next song has a killer bass on it. Pay attention to that, the synth and the vocal reverb. And don't forget to use the links down below in the description if you want to purchase any of these.
So which one do I prefer? This is kind of an interesting question to ask because it really depends on which platform I'm using at the time. I tend to use two phones at the same time, Android and iOS. So if I'm using an iPhone, it's really hard to deny that the AirPods Pro 2 are just like really great because of all the ecosystem benefits, that Find My feature, the MagSafe, all that is really nice. But you know, if I'm using an Android phone, I really like the XM5s. These are probably going to be my go-to, especially with my custom EQ. It gets just that sound that I really prefer. And the active noise cancellation is really amazing. The transparency mode, not exactly the best amongst all of them, but I can live with it, and they're quite comfortable. I love the battery life on it, and it still has wireless charging, unlike the Bose. Now, thanks so much to Sony for sending out the XM5s for an unbiased review. They did not have any sort of review rights or copy approval, and they're seeing it at the same time as you.
Now, how about some outtakes?
In the app to get, oh God! Oh my God, how many do I have? I'm out of hands, so I don't have fingers to clip. Another nice thing about having a shooter is that when you do like really dumb stuff and like nerdy stuff like this, people don't like go around thinking you're some weirdo. They're like, oh, they're just filming a thing. So, you know, if you want to do like socially unacceptable and weird things, just have a guy film it. Tapey, 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 up the sensors. You know, tape is a lot better than neat. AirPods, I had to use meat. It's got a bunch of two now.
That's the cleanup that's happening. Oh, he's taking it away. Oh, hopefully that's not gonna just die somewhere on the carpet.
AirPods Pro again, take two. Oh God, it started playing music.
Oh.
It was like metal music and I was like, that's not right.